OK， 好了，那各位观众大家好啊，欢迎来到我们这一次 MWC 预测的现场啊。我们这一次也是非常荣幸的邀请到了3位嘉宾和我们一起去对 MWC 进行一次预测。但是由于这些嘉宾呢都是外国人啊，包括这个事情我们也是做的国际化的，所以说我们在解说的过程当中会全程使用英文。那么我一开始就给大家说一些中文就可以了啊。然后呢，这个部分也会同步翻译成英文给大家说啊。大家要是后面能听起来稍微有点困难的话，我那个视频头上就会给大家出一个翻译的。好的，那么后面就说英文啊。Hello everyone, welcome to our also mania 4K World Cup 2023 overall ranking predictions. And I'm glad to invited the 3 guests together to predict the process of also mania 4K World Cup 2023. And in this stream we will see all the teams from 43 to 1 and see our opinions to every teams. And now let's introduce ourselves at first. So I am Gabriel, and I am the commentator in Chinese stream for many years. But in fact, I am the lowest players in the full best teams. And so who's the next?
Hello, I'm Potassium F.
Sugidayo?
Oh. Yes, I'm CS. Yeah.
I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Silvas Kaels. Yeah, that's who I am. Philippine players and whatnot.
Okay, Potassium F?
Yeah, I'm Potassium F. Commentator for the MWC, also Australian player. Not on the team this year, but for past teams I have been. So we'll see, yep.
Okay, so Sugidayo, can you introduce
yourself? Okay, I'm the captain for 4K MWC this year for Singapore, and I've been playing for the past 3 years, so yeah, I'm very excited to be here to be predicting the results.
Okay, so thanks everyone. And for Chinese players, I will introduce all the guests in Chinese once. 我给大家介绍一下我们的今天的嘉宾啊。首先是 CLO SKLs 是菲律宾队的面王啊，然后呢代表菲律宾队参加了多次 MWC， 也有丰富的解说经验。下一位 Potassium F 是我们当中解说经验最为丰富的mania 官方解说，已经为 mania 解说了7年的世界杯啊。然后他也是澳大利亚的队长，而且 FL 打得比我好。下一位是这个苏菲达幺，是新加坡队的队长啊，也在新加坡队打过很多年的世界杯，同时他的中文说的。Okay, so let's come to our topic. The first team we need to see is Chinese Taipei. So for me, Chinese Taipei maybe one of the special team because their lineup is not very familiar for me. I just look at their user page and know that Such, the second player, Gang Such, and Jackie 607 are really skilled in their lineup, and for the other players, it seems that most of them are aimed at the early game, not the late game. So for me, I will think it will got maybe just past the qualifier. I will think it is like 32.
Yeah, I think the
30. 这个怎么说来着？
team definitely looks better than last year, I think.
Okay, so what's else?
Physical ability, I think they've got a lot more. Like you said, Such and Jackie are really strong players, or at least it looks like it. But yeah, I think the other players, I think they're too focused on like the top heavy team, I think. So they have like 3 really strong players, and maybe like the rest of them are not so comfortable. So I think they could struggle on like LN picks, SV picks a little bit too much. So I think, yeah, I'll put them between like 24.
All right, so I think the biggest thing about this team is they don't have some players like Fola. They don't have Chang Panda as well.
Yeah.
Those two players have been like some of the best players in that team. Though I feel like the biggest issue here is their lack of experience could say something. And experience matters a lot in terms of like making decisions when it comes to what maps you're gonna play. And also like, let's say you're in a bad situation. I think experience really plays a big factor there, because with the experience, you'll know how to get out of those holes that could put you in a bad spot. So even with that, though, I think even with the lack of experience, they're probably going to be qualifying. Though I see them being in the 30-second range. I would say 30-second. Yeah, I'd see them around that pace. So yeah.
Okay. I think I have like somewhat of a similar opinion to like all three of you. Although I do know that Jackie is like I've known him for at least like 2 years to be quite a very versatile Rice player, and such as from what I know, has quite a high physicality. So I feel like that alone is able to propel them to being able to qualify regardless of how the performance of this player basically.
So all of us just think it might be the 32nd. Okay.
Yeah, I think
the qualifier team. So the next one would be Vietnam. It is really a pity that I can't just let Lord to introduce their team, so we could just say by ourselves. And Vietnam is really how to say? I think Vietnam is really not stable in the whole process of tournament, because most of some players are not very skilled at keep FC or keep the huge combo, but because of they have lot, they have CPT Siberia, they have Fight on Gaming, their skill, especially in LN and include a lot in SV, is really outstanding. So I will think Vietnam will maybe got 13 to 16 in just qualifier quarterfinals. That is my opinion. I will type 16.
Yeah, I think kind of similar. They have been really inconsistent. They reached top 6 like 2 years ago, I think, with a very similar team, which is really good. But I think right now there's so many teams that are like really, really strong. They have just as much physicality as well. And I guess this year it shouldn't matter as much if you miss a little bit, because I think the overall difficulty is going to be a little bit higher as well. And as you said, the LNs, I think the LNs are incredibly strong. Rice, they'll also do pretty well. They've got Magnifestio for Rice. Their SV is really strong. Trito can also play Rice really well. I think they might struggle for a third later on, but I think overall, I'm actually going to put them maybe a little bit higher. I would say like around 9th even. I think they could make they have potential to even go higher potentially, but they're gonna have to find a lot of like stability, as you said.
All right, so you two raise up interesting points here. You mentioned the concept of stability, and I think it's a good idea to raise, because stability matters a lot in tournaments. Without that, your team chemistry could be in shambles if you're not careful, or even worse, your decision making will also be in jeopardy, because without stability, having that important decision making could be a problem. Because it just reminded me of 2021. I'm not sure if anyone was here at the time, but it was 2021 Vietnam versus United Kingdom. Vietnam picked Dusanko Odyssey, which was a rice-based hybrid, and that's not the pick you make against a country like the United Kingdom. And considering that a lot of this team, or actually not a lot, like you have only Lot and Shidon Gaming returning from that 2021 team, and also CPT Sevilla, I think they really have to work on that, because the moment they panic based on their picks, that could really place a big impact on their team. With that being said, however, I would place this team at actually 9th, 12 as well, because their physicality really carries a lot, especially Chidon, Magnifestio, CPT Sevilla. That team is insane at Rice. LN could be a little bit weaker as the stages progress, but I think Rice is certainly one of the best skill sets they have.
Okay. Well, actually, I'm gonna put Vietnam at 7th. This is because, firstly, I feel that Sevilla himself is he's a staple Rice and LN player. He can do basically everything. Magnifestio, although I'm pretty sure it's his like first MWC, but when I faced off against him in Speed of Light, he was pretty, well, very impressive to say the least. And Tri Doan is, well, he's a Vietnam player who has been around for a very long time, and his accuracy is very good. He's very well rounded, and well, yeah, I see these three players. Oh, also Lot. Yeah, Lot. Lot himself can play SV, he can play LN. I mean, in my opinion, I think that this team has the potential to make it pretty far with such a stacked roster.
Alright, so that's actually interesting because we all have our different rankings here. But considering that I think Yobrevel had 13th, Supadeo had 7th, me and Potassium F had 9th. If you get the average of that, I guess it would be around the 9th range, right? Should be around there.
Yeah, like semi-finals week up to there.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Vietnam is definitely
Okay,
a semifinals
so-
team. But yeah.
Yeah, I do think
no
like
problem.
the kind of in
So
general.
we just have yes, we just have many different opinions in Vietnam, but as average, we just put it into 9th to 12th. Okay, the next one, Venezuela. For this team, I have some experience because they just qualified in 2021 and have a match with China in R32. So in my memory, Venezuela have double PP farmers with really high PP, but as a matter of fact, most of them are not really outstanding in tournament playing. In many skill set, so maybe they are not really suitable for the tournament. I think because of their lineup, I think maybe just qualified. So I will type 25 here.
Yeah, I think Vietnam is a team like the new players for Vietnam. Like MOQ, I think Vietnam actually have their 3 best players in terms of rank this year, which is a lot better before having only 4 players. I think this is a pretty big upgrade for them in general.
Wait, excuse me, Vietnam or Venezuela?
Wait, sorry, Venezuela. I'm still stuck in the past. I'm stuck in the past. Venezuela, I mean, that's what I'm looking at. But they've got some of their similar players. I've seen some, like Yuyuko Fangirl seems like a really strong player in general. I've seen some scores from them, but it kind of just depends on how the other players play, and also with their kind of similar deal with Chinese Taipei we said before. The top few players of Venezuela seem a lot stronger than kind of the rest of the roster in general. So it really depends. Like those top 3 players, I think they have to be able to play everything if they want to be able to win a match, and I don't think they necessarily can. It's very, very hard to find players that can play everything at such a high level, like these days. So I think I kind of agree. I think they have enough just physicality to be able to make it past qualifiers for sure. But I don't think they're going to go any further than that. I think it will be 25 to 32, that kind of range.
Well, personally, I don't have a problem with both of your opinions, but here's something to take note of. Like, yes, they have a full team roster now, in which they didn't have last year, and I feel like that's definitely going to help them qualify. But my biggest issue would be on, is their LN going to be enough? Like, here's the thing about countries that don't have the highest rank. Usually, these are the players who are also not that proficient in long notes. But I was looking at Canamp, one of the players in Venezuela. They seem to be one of the most decent players, at least in terms of hybrid. Like, they have a 97 and off Ambrosia. That map is not an easy map in any form, in shape or form. And you did mention the improvement of Yuyuko Fangirl, in which I'll have to agree there. Evo, Shizdai, and Yuyuko Fangirl should be a very decent trio in Rise. Although I really hope that Moan and Fluzz carry their own weight as well. So with that in mind, I think they should be in barely qualifying territory. So I'd say around, yeah, same as you guys, barely qualifying. Like around 25th to 32, maybe around 31, 30, maybe even 32nd. So yeah, I think they're gonna barely qualify.
Okay, I think most of what I was gonna say was already like said by you guys. I'm quite foreign to the Venezuelan players. Other than the 3 highest ranking, I'm sure those 3 will definitely, help them out in qualifying or whatnot, but I'm not sure how long they can last, especially since I haven't seen any of these players in any tournaments, so well, there might be some vulnerabilities. So yeah, I'll be putting them at like also just barely qualify.
Just type 25,
Right.
not 30 seconds. Okay, so our opinion is same in this country. I'm really glad to see it. Okay, the next one. Next one is Chinese Hong Kong. For Chinese Hong Kong, I do have many opinions over this year because I really look highly of this lineup. I think Chinese Hong Kong do have really strong teams. They are really skilled in early game, in LN ratio, and in late game, especially when the quotient GD is become more and more stronger in their limit, and they have health also danger stage 5 because in the last year he is sick and Hong Kong just got eliminated too early. They didn't perform really well in early game. So for this year, if they don't have some objective situation, I think Hong Kong will be a really strong team. I will give them a 9th to 12th, and the players from Rexec and SO1. Rexec is LN player, a really strong LN player, and SO1 maybe for SV or for LN. I don't know if he have a chance to get on the stage, but there are 4 players in the lineup is already enough for the top line.
Yeah, I think this is a really interesting. This is one that I have a lot of difficulty trying to kind of place as well. I think all of the teams from that I think are between even 5th to 16th are all really close to each other. It's all a mess around that, and this is one of those teams, especially because like you said, Osu Degen stage 5, it's like Murasame, right? And last year they didn't play at all. I think there was something happened on their end. I was really sad because I think this team can be like really strong. So without OCDG in Stage 5 playing, they got 17th. I think if Murasame plays this year, it's going to be a lot better, I think, for sure. Ooh, I'm not sure. Looking at the teams, this is just a really strong tournament team in general. I think all the players are really strong tournament players. And also, they found a lot of consistency last year. I'm not exactly sure. I'm like hovering between 9th and 13th. I'm not really sure which one to pick between those two. So I'm gonna let's like do a little bit of a halfway between. Let's say 11th.
See, I agree. This team is super hard to predict. In a way, like here's how I see it. In a way, this team is kind of similar to Vietnam in the sense that they can go really far, but there's also a chance they don't. Like, here's my problem here. The thing about both,
I really agree with it.
the thing about both of these teams, alright, they have amazing Rise ability. You said Murasame, Quotient GD, Meg Mewtwo Z. Those three are very good for this team. Vietnam has Sivelia, Magnifestio, and I believe Chidon. So those three alone, they're a very formidable Rise team. But what makes this team, in my opinion at least, very strong is they have new additions like Raksak and SO1. I'll just say SO1 because there's another Sol that's in Malaysia. I'll just say SO1. Raksak is a very good LN physical player in general, and SO1 is someone who I've seen in 4DM. So those two have experience and all. I mean, SO1 does. Raksak, however, I stand corrected, that person may not have that much experience. But I just think this team has better accuracy than Vietnam, actually. So I would say this team is 9th to 10th. I'll just put 10th. Because like that's how I feel. By the way, just a correction, Murasame did play last year. But on the SV pick. On the SV pick.
On the SV pick?
Yes, he played on Line Zeta. I'm not sure if he played any others.
Really?
But I'm sure he played Line Zeta.
Why not the other maps?
Okay. Okay, well, in my opinion, I think they are around something like 11th as well. I believe that Quotient itself is a very good and like very versatile hybrid player, Rise player, LN player, and Meg is he's all-rounded, but what stands out is his LN release in our opinion. Meg's LN release is really good, and who else do we have? We have Murasame, who has been, well, he's a quite an OG player who has been around for quite a while. I believe that he definitely has the capability to help Hong Kong, well, boost their rankings and boost their ceilings up by quite a bit. And Rises is, well, for what I know, he's a Rise player who I remember he played in 4DM like 2 years ago, I think, and he was quite menacing there. So yeah, and we have Raksak and S1, which I think those two, hopefully when the time comes, they'll be able to maybe like patch up the team's weaknesses, or hopefully something like that. So that's why I'll put it at like 11. Actually, I'm good up to 9th. Actually, yeah, I'll put it at 9th.
Okay, so like our opinion is 9 to 12. This is our prediction, and the next one is Ukraine. So for this team, I'm really how to say it? Ukraine, I'm not really confirmed that what's the situation of their top players named not who you are, because we all know that he is really strong, really strong in ancient also mania, but not know what is his situation now. I just think he haven't played any mania from the October in last year, just until now. So this is why I'm really not confirmed for this team. I will think maybe this is a bit hard to get qualified, so I will predict a 33 season. Okay.
Yeah, I think this is definitely another tricky one for me to release, because like you said, Not Who You Are is a really strong player. Definitely strong enough to be on a team that qualifies. But there's so much that I just don't know about any of these names right now. Looking through, they have higher ranked players overall. That some of their ranks are a lot higher than last year's team. But I feel like just the scores that they got as a team last year, specifically on the LN maps, I feel like Not Who You Are is really still uncomfortable, looks like, at the LN maps in particular. So if they don't have like a solid 3 other players that could fill in for the LN and get a decent seed there, then I don't think they could qualify. I feel like they really need a better LN team basically to get there. Their Rice could be very good, I think, but I'm just not. I just have a lot of questions there, and I honestly don't know, because the players I don't have much info on right now. So I think because there's so many teams that are actually going to be cut, there's going to be 11 teams that don't make the top 32. So I think they're probably, I'll probably agree here. I'll probably go with 33rd. They'll probably almost make it, I think. I think they have a good shot.
I unfortunately would have to agree, because the problem with Ukraine, at least in my opinion, is, if you think about it, this team is really good at Rice, right? But the thing is, Rice is kind of like a fundamental skill set that everyone really starts with. So in my opinion, yes, even if Rice is your strongest skill set, the ceiling that they have is unfortunately not as high as many of the other teams. Which is why, even if their Rice is really good, yes, if they don't have the other skill sets to cover for that, then I don't think this team is qualifying. I would honestly say they'll almost qualify, yeah, probably 33rd, 34th, or 35th. I just don't see a universe where this team qualifies, sadly. So I think this has to be a 33rd plus team.
Okay, well, I agree with what I agree with what all of you said. Well, the only player which I like, who doesn't seem like unfamiliar to me, is Not Who You Are, and even then, Not Who You Are is like not as dominant as he once was. So I believe that probably won't be enough to bring Ukraine to a qualifying spot. And yeah, they'll probably be one of the teams which has to go. So yeah.
Okay, so all our opinion is not qualified. So the next so the next team is, let me see, Thailand. For Thailand, the players is really familiar to us, because most of them are really experienced tournament players, and many audience have seen their match before, and especially for their double top players, Kunkawai and Heaven, they're really skilled in all the skill set in tournament, and they are really stable. They are really stable. It is really a huge lead for Thailand to get further. And for the other players, Paponga is really skilled in speed, and he is always used to keep the combo in LN, but his LN ratio is really not good. Same situation as Montauk. Both of them don't have a really well LN ratio, and for how to be Intel, his ratio in early game is really insane. It's just like he is a million players. And AOMDCO, he is skilled in especially rice maps and hybrid maps, but the position of his rice map in late game might be replaced by Papover. I think the most problem of Thailand is the late game because AOMDCO might not be able to play very well in late game rice maps. So I will think they might got maybe 9th to 12th. Same.
Yeah, this is one that I'm actually another team that I'm on the fence for a lot, because last year Thailand was really strong, but their biggest strength was definitely their LN. And just looking at the roster changes, I think all the players are still really strong, but they lost their 3 best LN players. Just the whole LN team is gone now. Because I think, if I remember correctly, most of the LN team was Miku aimbot, How to Play LN, and Banan, and they're all being switched out. Going to be very hard to replace Miku aimbot in particular in the LN side. I think that's a big loss. But I think the players that are replacing it's still going to be really strong. But I feel like they now probably have a more, like, if anything, they probably have a more balanced team rather than an LN heavy team compared to last year. And honestly, I feel like I prefer an LN heavy team when it comes to getting a bit further in the tournament, because I feel like having a definite strength is just a really important tool to be able to contend with a lot of the teams that are like really similar in skill here. So I feel like they're still probably strong. Konkawa and Pavin still, of course, playing at AOM also, but they're probably just a little bit worse than last year overall. So I'm gonna go with just 13th probably.
Alright. I disagree with that take actually. I think Thailand is going to be a big leap from last year. I believe Thailand lost. I believe China beat Taiwan. Thailand. Sorry about that. Thailand, right? China beat Thailand, right? Last year? I think like China and Thailand are both in like the same skill set now, because like they're both really good teams and they've both upgraded. But since the focus is Thailand, I think they've improved a lot. They're going probably 5th to 6th this year. They're going 5th to 6th this year. That's my prediction.
Wow. Okay, well, I kind of have a similar take to Potassium actually. I think that LN is definitely gonna be one of their vulnerabilities, especially without How to Play LN and Nico aimbot. And although yes, their rise will be quite good. They have Arvin, Nkawe, Harponger, Monplug, AMDCO, How to Be Intel. I think those 6 are, well, they're quite solid, but I think that eventually their vulnerability and like weakness within LN is going to catch up, especially since MWC map pools are getting more and more difficult. And yeah, so unfortunately I have to do something with the team as well.
Okay, so in average, our opinion just come to 9th to 12th. It's just an average, and as you can see that all of us have different opinions in this prediction of Thailand, because the Thailand situation is really complex for a tournament. So let's see their performance in this year. So next one, Sweden. Sweden is a qualified team in last year, but in most situations, they don't have a chance to get in further game. This year, Sweden have more players like Lemmy. Lemmy is really skilled. I just see his user page. Lemmy is maybe one of the most skilled players in the Sweden lineup, and they do have another players called Himlav. I don't know how to say it, and Parinya for these players. Both of them, both Diamond Blaze and Himlav, they are SS players. They do addicted in chasing for SS. They do have more than 1,000 SS scores in their user page. Both of them. So I think it is really a high chance for Sweden to get into the qualifier, and maybe it is a bit hard for them to go further, but it is stable. So I will type 25 here.
Sweden, in my opinion, yeah, I decided to go ahead here because I think they'll qualify this year. Like they have Parinya, Lemmy. These two players definitely improved a lot, and Neon Jacon and Himlav are also very decent players. I would say I agree around there as well. Like 25th is also going to be my prediction here. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of have to agree in as well. I was just double checking some facts here as well from last year's qualifiers, and even though we see Sweden lost Seb Best, it was actually Emic, Diamond Blaze, and Neon Dracon playing every single qualifier map, and they managed to get 25th seed last year from just those three playing every single map. Now, with essentially just three brand new players, all of them look fairly strong, at least judging from just the cursory user page search. So it looks like a definite upgrade to the roster, but at the same time, as you said, it's kind of hard to see with so many competitive. I think all the teams, from rank 17 down to 32 are all going to be extremely competitive as well. So without something that I can clearly point to and say, like, this is this team's definite strength, it's probably also going to be the 25th from me.
Alright. I also kind of share the same thought as all of you. Emic, Lemmy, Neon Dracon, Diamond Blaze. Lemmy is a player I know from 2021 actually. I recognize them from quite a while ago. And yeah, they're quite physical players, so I believe that, well, the four of them will be able to at least make it past qualifiers and maybe make it even further, but I'm not sure. I'll put them at a respectable 28. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so our opinion is really similar in Sweden, and the next one is Saudi Arabia. This is a new team in also Mania World Cup this year because they didn't have a team in last year. All of the four players are really similar. This is really a special team. I'm a bit fan to see their user page. All of them are just like 11k PPs and regular player with high skill in regular patterns, or maybe Jack, or maybe jump stream. But all of the four players are really same. So I do suspect that they didn't have the chance to get out from the qualifier because they are not the early game player, they are late game player, and they seems not outstanding in LN ratio or others or keep stable. It just seems they are just a skilled regular player with 4. Okay, that's my opinion. So my opinion is 33.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for this team, we only really have their profiles to go off of. They don't have, obviously, they've never been in NWC before. There's only 4 players in the roster, which makes this really, really hard to really say. I think realistically, they're probably not going to make qualifiers, but as you said, their Rice skill is really strong. I feel like they could potentially do a lot of damage in terms of the Rice, but also every other team has really strong Rice players. There's almost no team that doesn't have strong Rice players in this tournament. It really just does come down to, can they play LN? And honestly, I have no idea whether they can play LN or not. It is a complete mystery to me whether or not this team can make it. But you know, I'm gonna say just because I want it to happen. I want them to just barely qualify.
I actually don't. I think one of the biggest problems that this team has is like not having a full team. I mean, yes, like teams like Japan in 2020, and I believe South Korea in 2017, they have got to podiums, and South Korea actually won the championship that year with only 5 players. But having a 4-man roster is not an ideal situation, especially if you're one of the lower end teams. Because the lower end teams would probably have to rely more on balance rather than players carrying something like that. So I think this team is not gonna qualify because yeah, their Rice is really good. But like my point a while ago, if Rice is your strongest skill set and it's not as high as the other teams, then what more about the other skill sets that you're weaker at and the other teams are super, super good? So in my opinion, Saudi Arabia is going to be 33rd, not going to qualify.
Okay. Well, I mean, as you all said before, all of these 4 players are well, people I've never seen before, and I can only really just go off their profiles and see their top players around. Well, their captain is a 7K player. I think they do seem to have quite the physicality, but I don't really know much about the team to be able to get solid and concrete seeding. So I'm just gonna take a blind guess and just say just barely qualifying.
Okay.
Maybe they just cracked it LN.
So, Saudi Arabia, the new teams with our is a bit different, and the next one, Russia Federation. For this team, I have to say that they are not strong but not weak. They are experienced team, like many players are from previous and BT and new players. Maybe okay. The new players like 2 types this name TCHYOOU. I just try to say the afternoon, I don't know how to say it. So I just say like TCH, and the TCH is really strong. I don't know how he did, but he just addicted in really long maps, just like that. That level map with 72 minutes, and the Messenger 2012. He just get both FC and SS in the 72 long maps. So his skill is really impressive, and for the other players like Nepco and Omnichal, they are experienced in tournament, and I think they will get a good score, like maybe 70. Okay, I will get 70 here.
Excuse me, I think you're a little bit laggy, I think. But could you get the gist of what you're trying to say?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I think a little bit of lag coming over here. That's okay. continuing on, Russia this year. So Russia last year, if I'm remembering correctly, they ended up 17th to 24th. They won one match, but the match they won was very, very close. And they do have 3 new players, but I think overall the team... Actually, it's hard for me to say. I actually don't know much about the new players at all. That is one thing.
Alright, so I'm actually familiar of one person there. It would be... what do you call this again? I'm very familiar of Wolf Pup. I've been keeping in touch with Wolf Pup, and like I faced them in... What do you call this again? I faced them in like soft 6 group stage, and they did a pretty decent job. So I would say they have the experience because Nepco, Wolf Pup, those two have played. There's also a Numiser, who is, of course, based on their tag, they're good at LN. Like, why would you you have the LN tag if you're not good at LN? I very much approve of that. Although sadly, I'll have to say this team probably will qualify, but I think they'll only make it to like, at least based on the team that they have and all of the other teams that are in here. I think Russian Federation is gonna be like, it's so hard, but I'll just say 17th to 24th, I guess. How about you, Casio?
I was gonna say... Obviously, this is with a big asterisk. I don't know exactly how strong the other players are, but from what I've seen last year, I'm going to say 25th. Because while they did win one match, it went to tiebreaker, I believe. And the next round, in round of 16, they didn't look too comfortable with the, particularly like the Rise picks. They were finding a lot of misses. So maybe slightly out of their comfort zone, which doesn't bode well because this year, obviously, the early game is going to be a little bit harder. Maybe they've improved. Maybe they're more consistent now, but I feel like it's mostly like consistency issues when it gets to some of the picks that I saw in the match that they played last year. So I'll say 25th for now.
Okay, I'm gonna be also going with 25th. Russia. Well, I really only know Nepco and Numiser. The rest, not very familiar with, but they seem like what you all said previously, they played in previous MWCs, and if they can hold their own ground back then I think like they could win at least one match, but probably not another one, which, oh yeah, basically, yeah, 25th.
I'd like to add something there. I think the biggest thing about Russia really is it's kind of not easy to predict this one. Like, if you think about it, like I did say 17th a while ago, but something tells me this could go 25th as well. At least when I studied it again, I just think this team, it could go to the 17th to 24th range, but I think it also depends if they're physically capable. So maybe I'll change my mind. I'm going to 25th Russia. But it still places them at 23. So that means this team is still at the 17th to 24th. I just think that among the 17th to 24 teams, this is definitely going to be one of the lower end ones.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, potentially tiebreaker match to get into, the top 24. Yep. Seems good. Yeah, we all think it's really close. Really close between 17 and 25. They could, but we're not sure.
Okay. That's just one.
Wow! Oh, that was Singapore. Okay.
Your time. You can just say
Singapore. Oh wait, okay, I didn't really think this through. Oh goodness.
Alright,
Singapore,
alright.
my own team. Okay. Yeah. Hold on, I'm getting messages. Hold on. Singapore. I think. Oh my god, I don't want to say anything that makes me sound arrogant. Okay, I think Singapore can make it to. I'll put it at a humble.
Humble.
Yeah, humble 12. Okay, I'll put them at 12.
Look, okay, I'm just gonna say this in advance.
Okay.
I like that confidence. No, don't be shy.
No,
be
no.
confident. Be confident in your own team, captain. Right?
Okay,
This is the
okay.
captain. Be confident. Don't worry. Don't hold back. Okay.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, I do believe that we can at least make it to 12. I feel that our Rice and Ellen is, well, I think we can hold like, I think we can, hold our ground for quite a decent amount of time. But one thing we're lacking in is SV. So yeah, I think that might be a little, that might be a problem for us. So yeah. Basically, that's what I'm gonna put our team at. I'll put them. Okay, I'll put them at ninth. I'll put them at ninth. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now, this team. So last year that you got ninth. Obviously, you still got Xven, Aishteru. You have yourself. And then I think most of the Oyama Mahiro, Neon Hooray, McButt, were they all 4-digit Mania World Cup players?
Yes, they were all 4DM.
I think I recognize all those names from 4DM. And so they've got a lot of tournament experience. And I'm just trying to think. Because, how do you pronounce it? Is it upper or UPR? From last year? They were,
I mean, we can just call them UPR, yeah, correct. Yeah.
UPR, yeah. They were like a really strong player last year, I remember. Particularly with like the LNs. And I feel like Singapore would be like an extremely strong LN team. They probably still are. Like the 4DM players probably can still hold their own. But it's really hard for me to place. Maybe I haven't seen enough of like the 4DM team just yet. Adam Akaville as well, of course, on the team. So I'm gonna say just for now, I'm gonna put it at a tentative 13th. A little bit of a cop out. It's like halfway in between all of the other teams that are contending for these spots.
I see. It's so hard. Like I don't know. Singapore is such a strong team right now. I think the trio of Sukidayo, Oyama Mahiro, and Aishteru, that team is such a good like LN trio, especially for the mid game, late game, and whatnot. Like I know Sukidayo has been making a lot of strides in improvements in the long note department. I have a lot of respect for that person, especially because I did concede a lot of long note points to them. There's also Neon Hooray and Mick Butt. These two players are very good additions. I think here's my opinion on this. Okay, like Neon Hooray and Mick Butt are gonna help this team in the qualifiers a lot. So definitely with that in mind, if they're able to have a good qualifier seeding, this team could go far. But my problem is, look at the 9th to 12th range. There's just so many countries that could go so far. So with that in mind, I'll have to put Singapore. Wow, this is so hard. This is so hard to choose, Like, I think I'll put Singapore at a, just like what Sukidayo said, a humble, let's say 13th.
So for me, I'm sorry I can't see the camera from Els, so I don't know if he has finished.
Hello?
My network is not very well, so I just have to see. My opinion is from 9th to 12th because most of the Singapore players is from 4DM. I'm really familiar with them, especially Neon Hori and Macbot and Oyama Mahiro. Most of them are skilled in how to say it? Skilled in LN, I have to say it. Skilled in LN, and for XVN and Sukidayo, their ratio is really well, and I think the Singapore most problem is late game. So in the early game, they will not have some problem. My opinion is nice. Okay, so the next one is Romania. Romania is one of the special team because they only have one top players, which named Lee Field, but this time he didn't register in MWC, so I think they won't get registered. They won't get qualified this year because in last year we all see that Lee Field just really struggled to carry Mick and LSKHU. So I think this year it is really hard for them to get qualified. I will type 33 here.
Yeah, I think I agree in general. Lefield was their best player, if I remember correctly, last year. And also, I think Robbie played a lot of the qualifiers as well. So they're missing two of the players that played a large amount of the qualifiers that let them qualify in the first place. Still got two of the players remaining, but with a team of 4, it's really hard to imagine, them having a full team that can contend with every other team for all of them. So I think just by default, almost every team of 4, I feel like is gonna struggle massively to ever qualify. So 30, 33, 32nd, 33rd, RD, yes.
This team I don't think is gonna qualify because they don't have the field, they don't have Robbie, and I think Maija and Doom Roach were like decent players as well last year. So I'll sadly have to say that even if Bluestone and Kirbo are very good players, I just don't think this team is going to make it past the stages that are really going to matter for their skill sets because of the competition that this tournament has. So I'd say they're 33rd or above. So yeah, I mean, I think it's Sukidayo's the only one who has to say anything. As I've said, 33rd. I think everyone has said 33rd so far.
4 players team. Like 4-player team makes it hard. Yeah. Like I was saying earlier, having only 4 players make it difficult for because every match requires 3 players, a backup or something. If one player has a weakness in something, and it'll be quite difficult, especially for a team who doesn't have the full 6-player roster. So I'll also be agreeing with all of you, and I don't think that Romania is currently in a position to qualify this year. So yeah.
Okay, so our opinion is just to not qualify. For the next one is Puerto Rico. This is really a special team. I have to say it. This is a new team, just same as Saudi Arabia, but their lineup roster is completely different of Saudi Arabia. They have 2 really skilled players. This is really rare in a small lineup. They have double strong players, which is Jadix, their captain, and Algi, their fourth position. Most of them are really skilled, and but the other double players is not skilled. So this is really hard to make the decision if they could got qualified in the first round. I'm really really hard to make this decision. Maybe I will keep my opinion and wait for your.
I mean, yeah, it's a great start for them. I just don't see this team qualifying to an extent because the problem is certainly long notes and all. In my opinion, like I think their Rice is going to be decent, but again, I think they just can't really cover that other skill sets very well. So I'd have to place them as 33rd as well for this one.
Yeah, I would say even in the right. The problem is, I think this year's qualifier map pool, it's significantly harder, especially with the Rice pool. Rice pool has gotten a lot harder. LNs have gotten a lot harder, and that means that although, like, yes, you can kind of carry to an extent, everyone is so good that it really is all three players having to be good to be able to qualify. If there's one player that's uncomfortable with one of the Rice maps, like if one player in, stage 7 is only able to get 800k or 850k, then your team score is going to tank, like, massively. And I think, as you said, 2 players look really strong on this team, but with only 2 players having to play everything, and, third player with a bit of an unknown, it's really hard to be confident that they'll go through. Yeah, and of course, as well, just like El said, we don't know about the LN as well. LN could be something that they struggle with, because a lot of people do struggle with LNs. So I'll say 33rd as well.
Alright, I'm gonna be agreeing with all of you, and I don't think they'll be qualifying this year as well. And although they're 2 best players, and even though they're like 2 good players, I don't think those 2, like, from what I know, they are only they're only proficient like in like more mid game kind of, early game kind of maps, and another team with 4 players. So yeah, I think it'll be like really difficult for this team to make it past qualifiers. Yeah, so 33rd.
Okay, so it comes to our opinion is 33, and the next one is Poland. For Poland this year is a really special team, and most of them are not familiar in last year, because in previous Poland lineup most of them are members, but now they are just completely players. Most of them are above 10k PPs, and they are really skilled in hard Rice map, but it is really a problem that how could they get well in early game. This is really struggle, and it seems that most of them are skilled in the regular but not skilled in LN. I don't know if they could play well in early game LN, so I will predict 25.
Poland, in my opinion, is making a leap this year. The thing about this team is they have the tools to go farther. They have like Yetka, Tafalek, Polymerit. Those 3 players are very decent players in my opinion. I think the good thing about Poland right now is I just feel like their ceiling is a lot higher now, especially with how their lineup is, and like they're filled with players that are in the 3-digit range. I have to say though, this has got to be one of the borderline This has got to be one of the borderline 17th to 24th teams. I would put them as 17th. That would be my prediction.
Yeah, this is a team I actually I looked at the Polish team this year, and I absolutely had no idea. I've never heard like 4 of these names before. It shows that how much I look at the leaderboards. I don't look at leaderboards that much, but looking at them, of course, they do seem a lot more physically capable. They're all very strong as far as, you know, PP scores, as far as leaderboard scores go. They look really strong, but there's just not enough information for me right now to know whether or not they can win a match. I think they're definitely capable enough of getting out of qualifiers. It looks like that for sure, and they have a full 6-man roster. They've got all the elements there to qualify, but it's hard for me to pick another team that I think is going to be, you know, that 25 to 32, 17 to 24 range and say they can definitely beat that team. So I'll say for now, 25th. Welcome to be proven wrong.
Okay, I'm gonna be going with something more similar to L's. I think there'll also be like a borderline 24, yeah, because I know some of these players from 4DM and some of them from just like looking at leaderboards itself. I think they definitely do have the potential to qualify, and not just qualify, and maybe win a match or two. So yeah, I'll be putting them at like 17th.
Okay, so we have double different opinions about Poland. So we are looking forward to their performance in this year. This is really a special team. Okay, the next one is Philippines. Okay, your turn.
Let's go Philippines. Okay, Philippines is a very interesting country in my opinion. Cause you know what's something I've noticed with many of the teams? They've had like many player changes whatsoever. Like literally almost every country has so many roster changes. But here with our country, we only have one roster change, who happens to be Cub replacing Mystery L. And honestly, like the way I see it is, Mystery L was actually not. He didn't sign up this year. That's why he's not in the team. But Cub also very much deserves the spot. In fact, Cub is a very well-rounded player. And so are, of course, Boji and 4Ken, who is 7Ken right now. And then you have 8-Paul, who is the LN specialist, the LN Axe specialist, Volpsy, who's super, super good at Rise. And then there's me. So, like, as a team in general, I think we're gonna go far. I think we've worked really hard, even after the numerous unfortunate circumstances and whatnot. I think Philippines has a lot of potential, but as the captain, I will just say this: we really have to work hard if we want to get far. So, yeah, that's my prediction. That's just what I'm gonna say for our team. I think the Philippines is going to go maybe second or third. Second or third. I'll go second.
Okay. Yes. This is also my opinion, because in this year, especially when South Korea locked their lineup, it is really a high topic for what is the skill between Philippines and South Korea. I just think carefully this prediction, and my opinion is also 2 or 3, but I'm more likely to choose 3 in this time, maybe about 60 to 40 for my opinion, because I'm a bit worried about the RC Rise maps in the late game about Philippines. I'm a bit worried about it. And for LN, the LN of Philippines is maybe one of the most strongest. Is one of the strongest team in the whole world. So I'm really confident about it. My opinion is 3.
Yeah, I think everyone. We know what this Philippines team is able to do, basically, right? Last year was, I think, almost a criminal result that they got for. That was just really unfortunate. Could have very realistically got like second in the tournament. This year, we'll talk about Brazil later, but Brazil out of the way basically for the Philippines. So I feel like it really does. I think they're easily top 3. They should be. No pressure, Els. Just saying.
Yo, I
No
just wanted to say this. I really appreciate everyone's like belief in our team and all. Just gotta work hard. Let's go.
You know, cool team. Out of the top 3, I think the top 3 is almost impossible to predict right now because, as you said, the two of the expected teams there have changed their rosters quite a lot. Tentatively, let's.
How about Sukideo? I think it's Sukideo.
Well, no, not yet. But I think Philippines definitely won't be placed out of the top 3. I agree with all of you. I think they'll be at least top 3 because, well, every single one of you are very, very versatile. I know that, like, you all can play SV, you all can play LN, you can play Rise hybrids, all of those. I feel that it'll only be. I think it's only appropriate that I give you all at least 3rd place. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going first.
Okay, the average result is 2nd. Okay, so let's come to the next theme. As okay, a strong team from South America. Peru is how to say it, is a really experienced team because Lalito 898 and Henry Lexber is they are just against China in last in previous MWC, and the other players which is called Defu. I'm a bit feel similar to him, but I can't understand where he is from. I just see his user page. His user page is completely underranked. So I think Peru is really strong. Although they just lost some of their strong players in last year lineup. So I think maybe I think it's about let me see. 17. My opinion is 17.
Yeah, just looking at this one here. So they've kept some really strong players like Lolito and Henry Alex. Definitely 2 of their stronger players last year. So I think the team overall probably going to perform fairly similar. They've lost Dendro, and I believe Dendro was one of their best players for sure, which could be a hit, but at the same time with the 4 new players, some of those players looking like they're very physically capable, so they definitely could have, you know, players that slot into that slot. Dazra, of course, missing, but I feel like with the increase in physicality of this year's pools expected, maybe that is for the better with some new players coming in. But we'll see. Overall, I feel very similar to Yobreville. I think last year they got 13th to 16th, have some really strong performances. This year, I would be inclined to say they're about the same strength as last year, approximately. But at the same time, just because looking through the teams, there have been a few teams that I think have gotten slightly better rosters. I'm going to also put them around the 17th mark, maybe. I think potentially a little bit higher. It depends on how their players perform, the new ones.
I think I'll have to put this team at 17th to 24th as well. Like, they're definitely a touch better than the ones we have at 25th to 32nd. So yeah, I'd say this team definitely belongs in 17th to 24th. Just overall, even if they don't have players like Tazero or Dendro. They still have Lalito and Henry Alex VR, and I think Akenyi, Post Player, Defu, Spectro, they're definitely super decent players and they're able to carry their own weight. So I would say 17th to 24 makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, well, I don't have much to say, but yeah, I agree with like all of you that Lalito and Henry are two players that are pretty strong by themselves. Although I do feel that like the loss of like Dendro and like previous NWC members will maybe hinder their performance a bit, but I think they are still probably no short of a team that can make it to 17th. So yeah.
Okay, so our opinion is finally team in this team. And really congratulations. And the next team is Hanama, a team that got eliminated from the qualifier in last year. So this time, let's see their lineup at first. Panama do have a player that called Bolero, is really skilled, really skilled. And for the other players, especially this one which named HD Software 64. This one is a HD player and his skill set is extremely similar to me. For most scores he just pinned in her use page is really extremely similar to mine. Is extremely similar. So I have to say that maybe it is hard for them to get qualified. It is not enough at all. I think it is not enough at all.
Yeah, I think the pattern in general is that I think every team with 4 players once again has the same issue: diversity problems. This team is going to have pretty much the same 3 players play every single map. So if there's one map that if there's one skill set they're not very good at, then it all falls apart very quickly. As you said, one strong player, a couple strong players actually it looks like, but it's hard to compete with the rest of the team. So yeah, I'll say they're probably not going to make top 32 unfortunately.
I agree. Like yeah, Bolelo has definitely made the jump in improvement. But if they only have like, but if this is their only strong player and like the rest I am not really familiar with, I think they're gonna be 33rd at this point. They're probably not qualifying.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have like around the same take as all of you. They do have one player who can pretty much play well virtually any Rise map that the qualifiers have offered, but I don't think the other players will be sufficient enough to score high enough to allow them to qualify. So yeah, I also probably don't think they'll be qualifying this year.
Okay, so our opinion is the same. Next one is United States. Okay.
United States.
For me, I will say directly. I will think United States will go the win. I will just type 1 here because all of the audience, all of the players know that NetPG is insane, completely insane. And for other players, they just got Hello Xiang, who will just fix their gap in LA, and also El Richie named Cafecito now. He is extremely skilled in 2021, and it seems that he is just work well now. But for another new player which named Peach Mario, he is mainly working for the LN maps. Just know this from practice match. So I think as US is already the most strong RC team in last year, all of us know that, but their problem in LN is got fixed in this year. So I think
Well, with the return of like Irichi, I feel like USA will definitely be a contender for. Actually, no, I don't think they'll be outside the top 3 this year, especially with returning players like Nep and Tristan and Dev, and new additions like Hello Sun and Peach Marrow. I feel like this is a very, very menacing team with a lot of very scary players. So I think I'll put them at second.
Yeah, I think I also, well, obviously since I put Philippines at first, no other spot. I think US looking like one of pretty much almost unbeatable at Rice. Like, this is a crazy Rice team overall. They were last year already, but yeah, Hello Sun now, Irichi back. The physicality is like through the roof of this team in general. LN's definitely looking better as well. Definitely contender for first place. I'm gonna leave them at second since I did put Philippines first. So yeah.
For me, there's no question United States is the favorite to win this tournament. I'm putting them at first simply because this team's physicality is off the charts, at least compared to like most of the countries here. So I would say Philippines. Sorry, I would say United States.
Yeah.
I'm mixing up these teams. I would say United States.
I like that confidence.
I'll say United States, number one country in my opinion. Just they're good at SV, they're good at LN. I honestly think LN is probably their biggest weakness, and that says a lot because LN is very strong from the United States. Their hybrids and Rice are also really good. Although I think their biggest weakness, I think at least, they have to hope that they don't miss a lot. Because like yeah, they probably have the best act in the late game among all of the other teams, but I think they just have to be very careful with combo, and if they're able to do that, US wins this tournament. US number one in my opinion.
Okay, so we just got this result, and we all know that US is a really strong team. Let's see what they could get in this year. So the next one is Norway. Norway it is really really a familiar face in MWC family. We just see many times that Norway got qualified, and for this time they just got from 4 players to 6 players, and their lineup is just got expanded. So I think the basic skill set of Norway didn't have some different from last year. So the position is also same. I will think 25.
Yeah, I think last year they qualifying with 4 players is really good. They have strong level, even with the 4 that they had last year. They had a very high level of physicality, which is what pushed them through with their Rice maps. They struggle a lot with LN though, and the new players probably going to help that out, you know, and being able to switch out if there's other players on the roster. I'm not entirely familiar with their LN abilities, but probably going to fare a little bit better with the LNs this year, I would have to assume. But other than that, yeah, I think it's likely not going to be enough, but definitely, or probably enough to still qualify, I would say, yeah. So 25th as well.
Okay, yeah. I think they're also like borderline qualifying, since they do have like 2 players who seem to be able to hold up quite well, like RS Fast and Couple Tunnel. I think these 2 are pretty good, and I think the other 4 will be able to, well, hopefully push them enough to qualify. So yeah.
I don't have much to say about Norway other than having a full team would definitely help this team qualify. So I think this team definitely makes it out. Their Rice is certainly going to be very strong. But I think having a full team probably guarantees that they potentially may have more skill sets to cover now. I just have to say though, the 17th to 24th up to the 33rd plus, it's kind of a hard guess from there. Like this MWC has been so hard to predict. But even then, I still think this team definitely goes to the 25th range.
Yes, I have to make an additional because there is about 43 teams and there will be 10 teams being got eliminated from the qualifier stage. So this is really hard to stack which team will go to qualifier, especially in this from 25 to 32. I'm really struggling in this part. So that's the next one. That's why Netherlands. Netherlands is a topic team because in previous you see this really strong team, but they didn't got really good result rankings. But this time, some of their strong players got quitted from the lineup like extra, and to fast forward 98. This time they have only Shoira and Toxic Sin from last year, and Samuel Columbus just like not the core players in the whole lineup. For the new players, it seems that it is not really consistent like the previous year survivors in 25.
Netherlands is a hard country to predict. Simply because, while the Netherlands is definitely a good team, I think their biggest problem is their physicality. So yeah, just gonna say that for now. How about you, Sikida? What were you saying? Because if Sukadeo is not gonna say anything, I would put Netherlands.
I was gonna say like Toxic Scent is like a really notable player from last year, and Shoira, and I feel like Shoira and Toxic Scent and the other 4 players will definitely be able to perhaps push them up to 17th. I feel like they'll be able to qualify. I'll probably put them at 17th.
Very interesting prediction, but I'll have to say 25th. Simply because I think this team just lacks the physicality in general. I mean, yes, Shoira, Toxic set, but I really want to see these two players, Cube 9112 and Quinny Y. I want to see these two players prove that they're physically good enough. Ready Perfectly and Samuel are very good players on their own, but Cube and Quinny has to do something as well. So I think as long as they're able to do their roles properly, I think they're gonna win a match. But at least with how qualifiers looks right now and how hard they are, I think this team is gonna be in the 25th range. So same with Yobrevelk.
Yeah, we do know just like a little bit of information that the first map pools are expected to be harder, particularly with the tech and the LN in the early stages. So yeah, I initially thought, like looking at the names, that they should be able to win a match, but yeah, now that you mention it, other than Toxic Sen and Shoira, it looks like they don't have a really solid third to pair up with the harder maps, and I think the harder maps are going to come a lot earlier. So yeah, I think I would have to agree, yeah. 25th.
Yeah, I guess we all mostly agree. Though, So this
And now that I'm thinking about it though, there's not really many other teams that I've put 25th that I think would beat Netherlands necessarily.
I guess
it's a hard call. It's a hard call.
The only team, in my opinion, that can beat that is definitely Sweden, and probably Norway if they make a push. But that's really about it.
Okay, so we just got it at Denver. The next one is Malaysia. Malaysia to have really a huge change in their lineup. For the most of their top players just got changed. Like Chibi, like XS, like Neko J. But they just changed their lineup at mainly 4DM lineup. From G-Light, Tosai, and Ada, just from DM lineup. I think as a result, they just lose many power in late game. Although only online this player is skilled in late game, but for the most new players, it is not skilled in late game, but really skilled in early game. Their early game is extremely strong right now. I don't know how could they get well in qualifiers, but I think they will not lose easily in early game. The only problem of them is the late game. So my prediction is 17.
Yeah, I think the same thing. This is really. I was really sad when I saw the roster, because of course the classic trio for Malaysia, Chiwi, Neo, and Apple, all not playing this year, is very unfortunate loss. That was basically the 3 players that played most maps for them when it got later on in the tournament, especially. So now they've got Leon, Einar, and Tosai is an extremely scary team to verse in LN early on. First 2 rounds, I think they'll be extremely scary in LN. But I do think they'll fall off, especially with harder LN pools coming later on. And the Rice maybe doesn't quite make up. They've got Soul and Online that can scale very well Rice, but I just don't think it's enough to win too many matches. I could say somewhere I'm thinking either 13th to 16th or 17th to 24th, depending on who they get matched up. There's a crazy number of potential teams to match up there. I think they beat some of them. They probably lose to some of them, depending on which one. So I'll say somewhere like halfway in between 16th or so.
Okay.
Go ahead. You can go ahead.
Okay. I think that Malaysia, in my opinion, I think they'll be going between 17 to 24. Well, but definitely one of the higher end 17, 15 to 17 to 24, because Leon, I feel like this roster is it's a roster which I'm quite familiar with, although they do not have Chiwi and Apple like previous years. I do believe that Sol, Online, Einar, Leon, and Jay and Tosai can definitely put up quite a fight against other countries, especially knowing that their accuracy is quite good and their physicality is also not too bad actually. Yeah.
I have to put this team at. I will take the risk and agree with Potassium here, at least in my opinion, because the problem here is like, I think Malaysia is still a touch above like countries like the Netherlands, Russia. Like if you were to put them, I think I just think overall Malaysia has the much more experienced roster. Really, I mean, Leon certainly is very experienced as a tournament player, and so are Einar and Tosai. So I would have to put them at 16th. Not to mention J-Lai, Leon, Einar, Tosai. Those 4 are going to be super hard to beat, especially when it comes to round of 16, round of 32 stuff. So I think this team at least is gonna win one quarterfinals match and then lose on the next week. Or on the next match. So I would say 13th to 16th.
It depends on who they match. I think it entirely depends on who they match, because I can think of 16 teams for sure that should, on paper make it further into the tournament. But then also some of those teams I can also see losing to Malaysia, depending on the map pool, depending on the maps, depending on the round, right?
I agree. Yeah, sorry to say, but I just think this is 16th.
Okay, so the next one is Mexico. That's what I want to say. It's finally at Mexico. I think it might be the most black horse in this MWC, Mexico. I'm really think highly of Mexico's lineup, and I think they will get a 13 instead. Yes,
Okay.
really high, 13. Mexico, really well, mania country that they have pollutes. Everyone knows pollutes, strongest players, one of the strongest players in ancient mania world, and they have BBC, NYRU, this one. This one is extremely skilled in visual and rap, and CRZ envy the insane visual players, and for other players, TK Map XA, for this one have really skilled visual at SV and LN, and Shadow GM have a good visual, and Arc Her Chaser have a really insane skill set. Completely, they have more than 12k and 700 PP. For the most situation, I think Mexico is enough. For most situation, include early game, include late game, include rise, include LN. It is enough. Especially they have a really skilled SV. So I just put it as 13.
I agree. I have to agree. 13th. This team definitely improved a lot, and I think they're definitely a dark horse in this tournament. I'd say 13th to 16th is very fair for Mexico. Like think of it this way: Dark Chaser, Plutes, and Envy. That team, they finally have a very solid foundation after the generation of Neuer, Hell Scythe, I think. Like, those two were extremely good for Mexico, but now they have this team, a new generation set of players. I think Mexico's going 13th to 16th, 100%.
Yeah, I think Mexico wins rice. Like,
Yeah,
that's it. Most of their matches they're winning. It feels like an old Japan. That's
Definitely.
basically what this team feels like. I don't know how strong they are at LN though. Do they have a solid LN team?
Well, Plutes is very good at LN. I think Envy and Shadow could be decent. I honestly just think this team is going to be really good in general. So that's why I think there.
I think the team beats most of the looking through all the teams we've said like 17th for.
Yeah. I actually think after looking at the roster like another time, I'm tempted to put like 9th to 11th, but I think they're like, I don't know, maybe I'm like looking for like a little more to push them over the edge. So I think that Plutes, Chocomint, Envy, and Dark Chaser are four very, very, well, from what I know, very all-rounder players who can play. So yeah, 13th.
Okay, so that's Mexico. The next one is South Korea. Okay, South Korea. I will type here. First, sorry. South Korea, they just changed three of them in last year because they used YZ1155. They got YZ1155 because he just won in Korean National Cup to beat the Lamy in Grand Final. And the next one is Yanho 7028, who is got Epsilon plus LN15. Extremely strong in many skill set, but the problem is his computer is not very well, so he just got always lagged to get a miss in practice match. I don't know if his situation is better now. but seems he's not very easy to change his PC immediately. And for the last one, Poker Fanboy seems just for the SV map, and because the other 5 players is already enough for all the skill sets. It is already enough because they have Poker, the one that could dominate the whole game from early to mid, not late, but it is extremely strong. And Gasol, it is enough for the all-round matches in regular to LN, especially the late game. It is completely a skilled player. And Vanilla Love, who is also named as Flying Samira, he is stable but not very high in ratio. In late game, his benefit will be better. My opinion is the same.
Yeah, I think this team. The only thing that I'm thinking about with this team, I didn't actually know about the YZ thing beating Lamy in the nationals. I haven't actually ever seen YZ play 4K, so that's why I'm a little bit reserved. I'm assuming YZ is extremely good at 4K. I think that's a safe assumption. But in general, I think Snowset and Southern Death played extremely well last year, particularly Snowset in Grand Finals. I think that was a big reason why South Korea managed to end up beating Brazil last year. So without Snowset, I think the replacing players Yonho and YZ are definitely going to be really strong. I just don't know how strong yet. That's the only thing. And of course, with Philippines and USA looking so ridiculously strong as they do right now, it's very hard to place these 3 teams. I think any of the 3 teams could come first. Any of the 3 teams could come second or third, realistically.
I'll put this team at third, because like it's just so hard to really call. Like any of these teams can like be realistically, as you said, it's gonna be so hard to call this. But I think this team goes third. It's just I don't know. It's just so hard to predict, really, because like they have such a very well balanced roster, like the US and Philippines and many other teams. I'd say third is a very valid prediction.
Well, yeah, since I already put US at second and Philippines with third, then I guess I have to put South Korea at first. I think South Korea definitely has the... Seeing all the South Korean players lately, I've been witnessing a lot of improvements, and well, I feel like they could be even stronger than last year actually. So, but it all comes down to, well, yeah, the top 3 teams, it's the difference between first, second, and third is quite small, even though, yeah, it's like one whole placing, but in reality it's the difference isn't really that big. So yeah, I'll be putting that at first, but
Okay, so it is always the highest topic of the top 3. So we have different opinions. This is normal. The next one is Japan. Sukita, your opinion of South Korea?
yeah, I put them as first because I already put USA and Philippines as second and third.
So double second in this shit. No problem. Okay, that's all. The next one is Japan. Japan this year they just welcome back to Group and still have GHT Girl and Yopi Yugen. But no. I am to AMD. We always call it AMD directly. And Ice Cake Gyoza. In this situation, I think Japan is extremely higher in LN ratio. This is the change from last year. And in SV, Japan may be one of the strongest team. And he is the most situation of Japan is aimed at qualifier. I think if they want to go in top 6, their road is just win in quarterfinal and got a position in winner bracket. That's all. So I think Japan is high probability to win in quarterfinals, even in winner bracket. Their early game is too strong, and this will lock top 6 at all. So my opinion is 5 to 6.
I think in my mind right now, Japan, at least from what I know right now, what I think, Japan I think is clear 4th. Crew K is a massive upgrade. Crew K coming back is absolutely huge for the team. Like one of the best players in the country for almost every map. Almost. The team, as usual, every year, ridiculously strong on Rice. Crew K, JH League Girl, AM Duskia. They have a new player. I don't know how we're going to call this on stream. Y, maybe? is what we might call them. Their LN is now legitimately really scary. Late game, probably going to be something like Crew K, JH League Girl, and Y playing. Ice Cake falls off at some point, but basically no weaknesses anymore. I don't think this team has many weaknesses to take advantage of. In particular, potentially late game LN might come into play, but also just a side note, I think they're very clearly the best SV team in the tournament.
Yeah, I agree. I think.
Go ahead.
Okay. I think Japan. For me, I think I'll put them at 5th to 6th. I definitely think. Oh yeah, like what Potassium said, they are definitely the best SV team. I don't think there's a single player in the Japan team who can't play SV. So yeah, and I think that Crew K, Shli Girl, A Folder, Ice Cake, Gyoza, and 990Y. I think Crew K has already proved himself to be a very versatile player. Like in 2020, he already won 2nd place, and Shli Girl, A Folder, all these players who are returning from previous years. I think this will be a massive boost for the Japanese team. So I'll be putting them at 5th for now.
I agree with both Yobrovil and Sukideo. I'll place Japan actually at, I would say 5th to 6th. So I just think Japan personally, yeah, they're a very strong team. The biggest weakness though is probably long note accuracy as time passes on. But the good news is they will have Ice Cake to help them with the LN accuracy. Ice Cake is known to be super good in that regard. And actually, Crew K and 999TY, that's who I think is going to be the LN team. Crew K, Y, and Ice Cake. And then we all know how good this team is at SV. Like Ice Cake at Gyoza Goku literally won SV SE2. So this is definitely going to be the strongest SV team in the whole tournament. So I would say Japan is probably at 5th to 6th. Definitely fair. Definitely a fair prediction in my opinion.
Okay, so that's Japan. The next one is Italy. Italy is, how to say it? I think Italy is mostly aimed at the late game, but it is really hard for them to pass the early game. So let's see their lineup. Kirasbury, for most of the teams, they didn't change it. They only changed one player from the last year. And we all know that Italy have a really strong player called Bray, but he is mainly for late game, not for early game. And Kiraz is in the 4DM team, I think. The other players seems really skilled in high level good map, and someone called GUI on Mania is also skilled in evolution, but their problem in early game is hard to solve. I think the result might be 70.
I'd have to agree. I'd have to big agree with that because I think this team is the only replacement here is Crybob into Fax. Actually, the interesting thing about this team is similar to the Philippines in the sense that they replace only one player on the whole roster. So I think this team just does the same as last year, probably in the 17th range. Like I personally don't see Venezuela beating them, I don't see Sweden beating them, and all the other teams really. So I think this team goes 17th.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too much to really say because kind of agree. Mostly the same team as before. Five players staying on. Crybob being switched by Faxt. Both Crybob and Faxt very strong players from the looks of things. So ultimately, though, it shouldn't change all too much. I think the skill level should be roughly the same. The only reason I would see them to be, higher or lower is because of all the other teams around them, obviously shuffling around in skill level. Some of the teams are going worse, some of them are better this year. We'll just have to see who they match up against.
Yeah, I think Kira's very best fast. All these players definitely like same roster as last year. I think they'll do similarly as well. So 17th, yeah.
Okay, so our opinion is the same, and the next one is Honduras. This is a new face in MLC, and the players is 5. Let me see their lineup. Honduras. For the first player, which named HD Weathercito, he is skilled in regular map, and the next one is mainly for Jack map, Ronkus, LS Ronkus, and the next one is Calamedius, and also mainly for regular map, and that's all. For the Danny and Sebas is not skilled very well, but the overall skill of this lineup is enough, but they don't have some really outstanding point to let them beat other maps. I think it is really a hard one to let them pass the qualifier.
Yeah, even though they have like two very solid players who have like really excellent like price physicality from what I'm seeing. I feel like the other 2 or 3 players in the team won't be able to probably won't be able to bring the team score enough for them to qualify. So unfortunately, I don't think they're gonna qualify. So they need to.
Yeah, I think same thing. They suffer from the same things that I think a lot of the newer countries do. Not enough players, essentially not enough player spread. They do have 5, but I would expect the same 3 to 4 players to be playing almost all the qualifier maps. So it'll be hard for them to find the diversity to be able to qualify.
I agree. I think this is going 33rd. I don't think this team's gonna qualify, sadly. Like, not to mention, I don't think this team is also very experienced as a whole. So I feel like I feel like they need to gain more experience in order for them to even have a chance at qualifying, and they also have to become more well-rounded. So yeah, I think Honduras is going 33rd.
Shout out to Honduras though. Actually, 6 that this country is playing.
Okay, the next one is
This.
Okay. The next one is Indonesia. Yes. Woo! Finally, it is Indonesia. I will say my opinion at first. My opinion is 4. Because as you can see in the previous lineup, in some strong team, Indonesia do really improved in most of the top players, especially like Ri, like Albert, like Adiza. But they have Azuki Fanboy this year. Azuki Fanboy, the extremely strong SV players. really strong. I can describe his skill, really strong. But the Albert and Adidas is just like a rocket in this year. While Ray just win the Toho Mania Cup 3 is Adidas, and 7 King in just last month. So I'm really confident for the lineup of Indonesia this year. Especially they still have Onta because it will keep their early game. Ray is extremely skilled in this year now. So I'm confident. Fourth.
I'll have to say same with Job Revolt. This team's going fourth. Like, I don't know, there's just no way this team loses that many Rice picks. And now that they have ASCII Fanboy, who's really good at SPs, they definitely have so much ground to make up for it. I just think this team is a big upgrade in terms of overall their skill sets, and of course what the holes that they have to fill in from last tournament. I just think this team is more consistent than ever, so probably they're going fourth.
Well, I think Indonesia. Well, for me, I can't really think of any country besides the top three that can really, which I can confidently say can beat Indonesia. So I'm gonna have to put them at fourth as well. Like players like Albert, Adiza, and especially like Onta Bekasi, who has been like an LM player for God knows how long. And Ray, my Speed of Light teammate, he is an absolute monster. So yeah, fourth, definitely.
Yeah, I think the kind of 5th to 8th, that kind of range, all the teams that perhaps could have been the team last year and did beat the team last year, I think have gotten some, like, some of those teams have gotten a little bit weaker. Like Malaysia gotten weaker, Brazil gotten a bit weaker. There's a bunch of them that have kind of fallen off around that range. So yeah, I'll go 5th.
Okay, so it seems that Indonesia will have some room. Guatemala is also new face in MWC, and in my memory, they just have the previous, but didn't get the score. I don't have this year I will focus in the lineup and it is different. And the Kevin Maxi is still the skill in their lineup. The next one is the Bruno. Some next one is current family. The next one is so I think their lab is kind of balanced in the struggle for us, but as we know, there are too many teams that are stronger for us, so it is hard for them to get qualified. I think they is 33.
Yeah, I think we basically same as what we said about the other teams. Four-member team, this one especially, 3 players I expect are going to be playing everything. So, yeah, once again, 33rd, diversity issues, third player issues probably going to be surfacing here.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of LN proficiency from what I observed while looking at their profiles. And even though they have 3 somewhat decent players, like I feel that it's probably not enough to help them qualify. So I'm gonna have to agree with all of you and say 33rd. Yeah.
I'll have to say this team doesn't qualify as well, so 33rd. I don't really have much to say about here. So yeah, I'm sorry to say, but this team isn't qualifying, I think.
Okay, so the next one is United Kingdom, one of the topic teams. United Kingdom just those many players from last year, include Animate, include Team Momentum, include Amosite, include Sayaro. But they still have Zombie 4 and Access Newson 1, 2, 3, 4 access. Especially Newson, it is really worked well in this year. For the new players, which is named Benefied, seems really well. And the next one, Me Egg 2, 3. This one is really skilled. I think United Kingdom is just mainly rely on those 4 players, and the others could do the yes since SV player and plus minus dragon minus is also SV player. So I think maybe the result is 13 to 16.
Oh. I'm gonna have to say, I think United Kingdom, yeah, they have Zubin and Nielsen, which are 2 very solid players. I'm pretty sure you know who they are, but I'm seeing the other 4, but I do feel like they have the means to qualify, but I don't think they'll be winning more than like 2 matches to make them to 13 and 16. So I'm gonna be putting them at 17th to 24th for now.
Yeah, this is a hard one because again, 4 players, 4 names that I've not really heard before. Zubin and Newson, incredibly strong players, but I think the issue with having those 2 players being the ones that they kept was that they have 2 very different skill sets. Newson is very strong at Rice still, but I do still think of Newson as mostly an extremely strong LN player, and Zubin of course being a really strong Rice player. So I feel like if they want to do well, they're gonna have to have a Rice team overall, and Zubin, Newson, and one of the others. I think they definitely could have a really strong Rice team. I'm seeing a couple of really strong scores on like Benefied's profile. I think has like a 994 and Edison 1.1. But it's hard to tell whether that's going to translate into any tournament experience. I think for now, just because I'm not sure what the kind of skill spread is going to be. I think the LN is definitely in question until I actually find out what these players can really do. I'll put it tentatively 17th.
Alright, I don't know, this is such a gamble to me. Like, we're looking at the next few countries, right? So, based on the next countries that we have, at least looking at the list, UK is such a toss-up to me, because they can probably go as far as 13th to 16th, they can go as far as 9th to 12th, even in my opinion. But sadly, because of the inexperience of this team, I'll have to place them. Like, I feel like this team is. I think this is the European equivalent of Malaysia, at least for this year. So I'll have to place them at around. Around there? Like around the 17th mark? Like. Wait. Oh, my bad. I
120.
Whoa. I think this team is gonna be like in the 20th range. Like I mean, yeah, 17th to 24th, but I just don't see many of the teams at the top beating UK. But I also don't see UK like winning too much either. So yeah,
they have the same problem Australia did last year, where you have 2 extremely strong players, but they have the complete one of them's LN, one of them's Rice.
Okay,
That's just how it goes.
so let's put it into 17 to 24. Okay, the next one is France.
French.
An experienced team in MWC long history. France. It seems that their lineup didn't have players just really impressive in some maps, but their team is just balanced skill. Let me just introduce this. Patos, Aura needn't introduce, most one knows them because they were played in tournament for very long times. And the third player, Bobby Bello, I'm a good friend with him because he is also an FL player. As an FL player, his LN ratio is really bad. This is impressive. It is really impressive in LN player. And he do have a good rise skill and LN skill, but he is not the strongest player in late game, definitely. His most use is in middle game, I think. And the next one, Mr. FR. This one is mainly for first game, late game, early game. Early game. And Nara Hashi and Quentin 5110054. These two players is extremely skilled in late game now. So I think the whole team of France is really balanced in any way. My prediction is about 13 to 16.
I'm seeing quite a lot of, actually, in the French team, I'm seeing quite a lot of strong players, actually. Like players I recognize, and yeah, undoubtedly, I think they do deserve something between 13 to 16, especially with like MWC veterans and an overall very physically strong team, which definitely will help them hold out later game, especially since the MWC pools are gradually getting harder and harder from previous years. So yeah, 13th.
Yeah, I think the biggest question for me is Pimu being one of the best players last year. Losing them is, I guess it is a little bit bad, but at the same time, gaining someone like Narahashi, I feel like the question is, can Narahashi outperform Pimu in some of the, the LN? And I think yes, in general. Looking at Narahashi's profile, I'm willing to bet that just in general, the overall skill manages to raise this team a little bit higher. So yeah, I think I would agree with what we've been saying. Yeah, 13th I think sounds pretty reasonable overall.
I agree. 13th probably makes sense. Like, I mean, they've been consistent in the 13th to 16th range, and even if we're in a newer generation of MWC tournaments, like the maps are harder, they're physically demanding already, starting even round of 16 at times. I still think this team's able to keep up with the rest of the world in that regard. So I'll have to say France definitely belongs in the 13th to 16th range.
Okay, the next one is Finland also. I just move it. Okay, Finland is also familiar face in MWC get qualified teams, just like Norway. It is but to be honest, I think Finland is stronger than Norway in many situations because they have two really strong top players, Lovely N and Fish. Both of them are skilled in LN, and now they have new players, which called Leka. And the Leka is, I think he is not very outstanding, but for the already lineup, it is enough to get qualified. So my opinion is 25.
Yeah, I think this team is, as we can see, it's pretty similar to last year overall. They did qualify. I think they definitely have the ability to qualify. They have strong players there, but yeah, just as well, I think it's going to be tough for them to win a match. They they have like a very similar situation as Russia. I feel like if we think back to the Russian team, I feel like they lack a little bit of consistency. They missed a fair amount first couple rounds last year, and that really did cost them quite a lot of points as well. And I think overall as well, probably going to struggle a little bit with some of the harder stuff in general, more physically demanding maps than we're going to be seeing earlier. So I'm going to also agree with 25th here.
Yeah, 25th is the way to go in my opinion. Like, I just don't see this team making a jump really. Like, Fisu is definitely a good player. Albania Ilya, of course, but I think this team just has a lot of issues with consistency. Even if their Ellen is really good, like yeah, Lovelin has at least at some point used to be one of the best Ellen accuracy players in the world. It's just nowadays Ellen maps have started to get really hard, so that's why I think the overall difficulty of this would still let them qualify, but it's definitely going to place them at around 25th to 32nd.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to completely agree with Els here. They do have Lovely, and which was previously one of the best LM players back then. But I think this roster will be just enough to like get by qualifying, but I don't see them winning a match against any of the other teams. So I'll be putting them at 25th as well.
Okay, so our opinion is the same. The next one is Spain. Spain is just changed a lot from last year. They didn't have Quinta, they didn't have Cool Fanboy, but they have AME. This one is really strong. I just see his user page. It is really strong. And the next one, Shiro P.
This is pronounced Shiro Pedefresa. That's Shiro Pedefresa.
Shiro, I see.
This okay, is pretty this is still good and install it strong stable is very so Alice but also didn't have a so their not just their actually would not be supposed to before. In previous MWC, Spain one was the strongest SV teams, but now it might not keep it. So I think the reward might be
17th, alright. I mean, like again, looking at this list, 17th to 24th seems to be a valid choice in my opinion. Like, a lot of these teams can finish anywhere from 17th to 32nd in my opinion. Though I do think Spain is on the upper half of those countries, so I would say 17th makes a lot of sense for Spain. That Goldak Soup is such a good Rice player. Shiro Pedefresa is super good at long notes, and Darius and NLP, both of them very good players as well. I just can't wait to see how Cartographiar and Ime perform on their own. So I think this team deserves 17th to 24th.
Yeah, I definitely think. Well, I agree with I think they are definitely on the upper echelon of like the 17th to 24th range, and I think it is possible for them to perhaps advance to like 30 and 16 range. But for now, I think I'll be playing it safe and go what I think is I'm more confident with. So I'll put 17 for now.
Yeah, I agree. They're a solid team all around. I think a lot of them have good experience. Looking at last year's scores as well, they did pretty decently, but I feel like, yeah, it's going to be hard to see, them beat a whole lot of other teams around this range. The whole middle section is crazy competitive right now. And it's just a bit of an asterisk on this one. I don't exactly know how strong some of the new players are, but it feels like maybe they're lacking some of like the extremely strong like carry players that some of the other teams around the range also have.
So he is 17. The full lineup. This is different from other teams. Denmark, I just see that the HDURK is an HD player, just as his name, but it seems he not well and local also as DG is very little and the other is stable, but it is not all stable. I don't think the
Denmark. I think Denmark is like, I mean, this is not a team that really was their last year, I think. So since this is a very new team and we don't really have that much information on them, I'll have to put them at 33rd because I think that Denmark still needs a lot of experience in general. But I could be wrong. Like I think the thing that's interesting about these 33rd countries is I just think a lot of them could really qualify if they have a great run. So in my opinion, even though we're in the 33rd place, yeah, as long as they put up a good fight, they can definitely make a fight for qualifying. But until then, I think they're in the 33rd range right now.
Yeah. Hard to say. I also agree with the 33rd as well. In previous years, definitely could have maybe, but this year, like you're just looking around the board, almost every team now has a whole bunch of players that have 10k PP, very physically capable players all around, and just with no information, don't know exactly how good they are at LN or their skill sets or any of the other players. Hard to have too much confidence in saying like they can definitely get through compared to some of these other teams.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. Like the only player which I truly feel is like quite outstanding here and quite remarkable is Luigi One. Even then, I don't think he himself will be able to truly help the team qualify, especially since they might have weaknesses in other skill sets. There's a lot of unknowns in this equation, and I feel that it's only safe to say that for now, since we really don't know much, I think I'm gonna put them as 33rd, which is not qualifying.
Okay, so the next one is Germany. Also special team, which is also known as GKZoo 123. And for other players, they just lose Maxim Mao in this year. This is really a huge difference from last year because Maxim Mao is extremely important in Germany team because the most important situation in such a roster is the third position. So Maxim Mao is insanely important. Now this year they only have GKZoo 123, ERA media kick, and ERA punish and timing to keep. For the new player, I don't think they are strong enough to keep too much, but timing seems a bit stable. In my opinion, the team might got 17 just same as last year. So I will see 17.
Yeah, I think just looking at the profiles as well, Lord Spartacus just changed their name like 2 hours ago. Fun. But Yeah, losing. I agree completely. Maxim Meow was one of their mainstay players last year. Played almost every map. I think most maps for sure. But they definitely still have, of course, JK Zoo. They have Seowin, extremely strong players, and a lot of their other players, Medium Keck, Punish as well, very has a lot of tournament experience just in general. So I feel like it's very hard to count out a team with JK Zoo in general, especially like early on. I feel like if the other players, if they have third players that can keep up with the map pool, then they definitely could be able to win the first match. But I think later on they're going to struggle with like later on pools, potentially with third player issues.
Alright, so talking about Germany, I mean, I think this team's definitely 17th, 24th material, but their biggest issue is, I think, physicality. I mean, yeah, JK Zoo definitely has that, but the rest certainly have to push through as well. Though, I think Germany's going to be a decent SV team as well, and I think their hybrids in particular are going to be good. But like what you all said, Maximiel is such a big loss in this team, in my opinion. Though, it is what it is, and Germany just has to adapt, and I think they can definitely be 17th, 24th.
Yeah, I believe that they definitely can qualify, but I think, yeah, I feel like, yeah, they're definitely on like the same level as like the other teams that we've already put on the 17th to 24th range. I feel like, yeah, they definitely can make it that far, so I'm gonna be putting 17 as well.
Okay, so next one is Zach. I always call it Zach, but we all in my memory, they just got qualified in last year.
They did play last year, I think, didn't they?
They did. They qualified last year.
Yes,
Yeah.
they just got qualified in last year and lost to Germany and which one? Germany and another country.
Wait, let me see. So, yeah, they did lose to Germany, right? Okay, wait. So you're talking about Czechia, right? So Czechia lost to Malaysia first, and then they lost to Germany.
Oh, can you check the name in last year? Is Czechia?
It's Czech Republic.
Oh, Czech Republic, yeah.
Yeah, Czech Republic, yes.
Yes, it's different name. I just noticed it in another World Cup, maybe Taiko World Cup. They have Czechia and Slovakia together and use this name, not Czech Republic. So this might be the position that they can get the lineup in last year. So no problem. We all know that they have a strong player named Grill Roasted, which is maybe one of the strongest player in the whole world. But his teammates is not skilled just like him. So my opinion is for this year, maybe also qualified, but because the Grill Roasted is really strong and it is really hard for them to get first 25.
Yeah, I definitely don't see Czech being able to win win a match even after qualifying. Although I do believe that Bro Roaster himself definitely can pull up this team score enough to make them barely just qualify, but maybe not when during bracket matches where one person can't really carry everything. So maybe just barely qualifying at 23.
Yeah, I mean, here's the problem with Czechia, in my opinion. Yeah, they do have Grill Roasted, but team balance matters so much more. Of course, this is a team tournament after all. So I would say I think this team is going 25th, but I don't see anything higher than that, sadly. I think they're going to qualify, yes, but I don't think they're going to go past that.
Yeah, I think even qualification is not necessarily guaranteed. I think they should still be favored to qualify, so 25th, but yeah, I don't think there's any team that I can think of in the top 32 that would put that they can realistically be favorites against. Grill Roasted is cracked though. Grill Roasted is so good.
Okay, the next one is Colombia. Colombia is just shocked me a lot in last year because they didn't got qualified. Some of our audience just think highly of this team because they do have a double PP Farmer top players. But this year, the lineup just got changed. Although the Exito is still keep and AG0 is here, but the other players just changed at all. The other players, which named Saikuto, have some skill in regular map, but I think it is still hard for them to get qualified because most of their skill set is in regular, not in LN. And for the other not top players, their skill is not outstanding in the other teams, so I don't think they can got qualified. 33.
Yeah, I think from what we've seen as well, a couple of these players played last year, from Alexito and Ego. I think they're... Yeah, I don't really see the team qualifying, unfortunately, because both of them they're fairly strong, physically capable, but from like the scores that I've seen last year from the team, I feel like they struggle to keep up just a little bit. Like, you know, especially when it comes to some of the LN maps, some of the accuracy map stuff like this, and obviously new team, that's nice, but then yeah, I think it's hard for this team to qualify overall 33rd.
Yeah, definitely difficult for a team who has like 4 new players to, you know, especially with the lack of tournament experience. And although they do have 2 fairly decent, strong players, I don't think that it's enough to get them to qualify from what I'm seeing for all their profiles. So I'll be just going with the 33rd, which is also not qualified.
Alright. I mean, I think this team could qualify. I think this is... I don't know. I think this is the team that's gonna get exactly 33rd. That's how I see it. This is the team that's getting exactly number 33.
Yes, I agree. Yes, I agree. It is high likely to got just 33. That's it. That's a hyperbole. Okay, so the next one I think might be China.
Nice.
中国是不是？
Okay, my time. China, we just have team like Kaisium, Sonic XY, nickname Arasang, Mavufu, and TYRCS. And for this lineup, I just think it is really balanced. We have skill set in early game, like Mafu. We have skill set in middle game, like most players. In late game, like Inyasang, like nickname like XSY, like Kaisiam. We do have good skill set in LN, but it seems that the worldwide LN skill is just accelerate 1 year by 1 year, so it might not be so outstanding in the whole world at all. But I think our SB is skill, yeah. And for this year, I still think it might be a 7th to 8th because every field our skill is enough, but every field our skill is not outstanding. That's all. We have a extremely balanced team, but extremely not outstanding team. That's our situation in the whole world. So I think it's still 7 to 8.
Yeah, I agree with 7 to 8. Most of the players that I see are players that I recognize, especially Mafufu from 4DM. In 4DM, in the 4DM Grand Finals, he really pulled his weight in the Grand Finals match, and it's truly one of the reasons why China was able to take the 4DM Championship. And KCM nicknames Sunny, Nyasun, and Turks, all of these players, all very well-rounded. Like Wilberg said, it's a very balanced team, but there isn't something which they particularly excel at, that they can truly triumph like any opponent which they come across. So yeah, I'll be going with 7th as well.
Yeah, I think this is a similar in terms of spread, the skill sets. I think it's fairly similar. Almost every player on the Chinese team is very well rounded individually as well. So it really reflects well on the team. Everyone can play almost everything, pretty much. I think the biggest change here is, rather than a change in, skill sets or anything, it's more just I think the team has a lot of late game just ability. I think there's a bit of an upgrade in terms of just physical ability late game, and seeing Turks on the list. I don't know where this comes from. I've never seen Turks play 4K as well, but that also scares me because I've seen what Turks can do in 7K. So if he's as good at 4K as he is at 7K, that's a very, very scary late game player for Rice in particular. So yeah, I think I agree. 7th. I'll see what they can do. Very, very strong potential as well to even go higher, depending on what teams they face.
This team can go 5th to 6th in my opinion, but the way I see this is Kaishun, Sunny XXY, Nyasun. That team is very scary. And what more, now that this team has nickname as well, I just think this team is a very strong one in general. The mere fact that Turks is the wild card player.
Turks terrifies me.
Yeah, I'll put this team at 7th though, but I really think this team is a finals team potentially. I have always had a lot of faith in this team. I think China definitely has potential.
It would be a shame if this team didn't make to finals, because I think they could do a lot of damage with finals level pool.
Exactly. I really would love to see China in finals. I think they can do it.
Okay, so our opinion is same. Yeah, in China.
Same.
Okay, then the next one is also we know that Chile. For this year, I also gladly to saw that Chile make many different from the last year, because they just have double strong players, which is named LS Bambi FNF and My Angel Kokomi. We just saw their impressive performance in practice match, especially the insane LN. Insane. The LN of Chile is extremely insane. I think only Philippines and all others, some grand finals teams could beat them, but this is really insane in the teams above the grand finals. So in regular, their players might be Milka and Nyava, also named as RHYCTCL, and XAN, and REGCK. This lineup also Bambi FNF. My Angel Kokomi won't play regular in late game, I think. In this lineup, the third position might be a problem. I think their weakness is just regular. But we all know that Milka is the strongest player in MWC, definitely strongest. Their lead, especially from Milka, will be higher and higher and higher in late game. So it is a bit conflict, because Milka could get a huge lead in late game, but his teammates, especially the third position, might got lose in late game. So I don't know what would the performance in semifinals and finals. So my prediction is 7th, but I do hope to see them in finals. My prediction is 7th.
To me, this team is a coin toss in my opinion. Chile can definitely go far, but looking at the countries that are available, actually, you know what? Let's go with that. I think I agree with.
Yeah.
I think I have to agree with Job Revel. It's just, I think it's just a matter between any of the 9 to 12, and honestly, like 7 to 12 is a big battle between all of those teams.
Yes.
So I still think 7th is a good guess though.
Yeah, I struggled for a while because I initially put this team. I think the team looks like an upgrade from last year, even not necessarily knowing the players that well. Niflox was extremely strong last year, but I think the players replacing are definitely looking very solid, especially late game as we go in. So I think they should do better than last year, but how much just really depends on how well the second, third players perform when it gets into like harder pools, harder everything. And as we know, Muka is going to automatically give the team some sort of advantage, most likely in most maps. So if they can hold up well enough, then yeah, I initially put this team a little bit further down. I put them at 9th, originally 9th to 12th. But then, like, looking at all the other teams, as I put them in one by one, I struggled to kind of find a team, or a solid, like, few teams that I would definitely say are 7th to 8th above Chile.
Yeah, I
It
agree.
really does depend.
Yeah. Well, from what I see, the current like teams we have in the 9 to 12 spot right now, I feel like Chile could. Well, I could not confidently say, but I feel like Chile does have a pretty decent chance to beat out most of the current 9 to 12 spots, and especially late game. Besides not just Muka, I feel like the other teammates as well have already made like drastic improvements since last year. Like Rico is a really good admin player, and a lot of all-rounder players, which I definitely think could make it close to finals actually. So I'll put them at 7th for now.
Okay, so we just have same opinions of both 7th place. Okay, the next one is Switzerland. A new face. They only have 4 players, and let me see. The first one, the captain, 2B Dix. It seems really skilled and in the whole team, but the others seems not well enough for the qualified. I think it's just like top players to carry others. So for this situation, I don't think it is enough for qualified. I will have 33.
Yep, the curse of 4-player teams. I think same as every other 4-player team. I don't think they have enough depth in their pool, variety in their skill sets.
Switzerland, there is the problem where like all 4-player teams suffer from diversity issues, and like I'm not seeing very strong players from these aspects, so I don't think they'll be qualifying this year as well.
Okay, so the next one is Canada, a special team. In last year, Canada just have their insane early game ratio, especially in regular map, and now they have new players, Walmart 5193 for LN play and Man 0149 for late game. now the Canada is stronger than ever. I think it is stronger. My prediction of the Canada is 9 to 12 because they have strong early game. They won't lose easily in our 32 or our 16, and they are also skilled in late game. So it would be a tough match to beat them in maybe semifinals. So my prediction is 9.
All right, my prediction is going to be 15th, because like I think Canada. Well, Canada is a very strong team overall. Their problem is going to arise once quarterfinals comes, and I feel like quarterfinals is going to be Canada's weakest stage in general, because one of their bigger problems will definitely be LN. Piggy, Dale, and Walmart should be decent for that regard, but this is when I think stability really falls off hard. So in my opinion, I think quarterfinals is where Canada's going to go.
This is definitely one of the teams that is in that range. 9th to 16th, 7th to 16th, even really. Just all of those teams are in hard to predict. I would be inclined to think that they're one of the teams that definitely has a real shot at 9th to 12th, especially because I think Maya seems to be a really strong late game player. Could definitely help them a lot in that regard as well. They do have other players that can definitely play a lot of the late game physical maps as well. So as long as they can get to that point, like you said, I think they definitely could match up with, depending on who they match up there, I think they could make it up to 9th. I'm gonna say 9th here.
Okay. I might actually put Canada at 7 to 8, purely because I think that GD Mem, May, Piggy, Walmart, Dale, stability. I feel like this roster, especially with GD Mem and May, with like being the two like solid foundations for late game, I feel like Piggy, Walmart, Dale and stability definitely can possibly like pull up like the team's performance. And yeah, so for now I actually can put 7th to 8th. Yeah.
Okay, so Canada seems do have many opinions, because I have to say that Canada is not just always follow our prediction in the tournament. I can't explain it, but the fact is it. I can't predict the process of Canada at all in many years. So
Unpredictable team.
The next one is Australia.
Yay!
Okay, your turn.
Australia.
Yay, Australia! Okay. Yeah. This team basically, I think a lot of names probably people aren't aware of here. Half the team basically hasn't played MWC, hasn't played in tournaments before. But this team is a gigantic upgrade from anything that we've ever had in Australian team, basically. Emptiness and Anim Girl are the two highest physicality players Australia has ever had in MWC. Emptiness in particular is pretty much, I think Emptiness as a Rice player can contend with, or can realistically find a spot in a top team if he was in another country. I think he is actually extremely good at the game. And basically no one in Australia really knew about him that much until recently. Overall, very strong LN team. It's going to be mostly LN focused with Luca. Oct4 is a 7-key player that has shown to be extremely good with LNs, scales well into like mid-game at the very least. The only thing that we're going to struggle with mostly is late game Rice. I think our Rice falls off a fair amount. We have Emptiness, we have Anim Girl, which is amazing too for later game Rice, but we don't really have a third. I think Iron is going to have to fill in a little bit, but ultimately it is going to be a bit of a weakness. I think LN we're really strong, Hybrid we're really strong, and if I were to pick any skill to be strong in, I think LN is a good one to be strong in. So I think better than last year for sure. I'm gonna put 13th because I do think we can win more matches than we won last year.
Really confident for your team. Yeah.
I think realistically, honestly,
Okay.
I could say 9th.
I'll
Wow.
I'll put this team as
That's a little bit of copium.
I'll put this team as 13th as well, because if you think about it, Australia, like the teams above Australia, at least where I see them, is like those are the teams Australia will go head to head with, or at least have some difficulty with, and the teams at the bottom of Australia are the teams that I think they can beat in a close match. So I just think overall, Australia probably deserves to be there.
I can put it in another way. Australia last year, we came 17th after losing to Chile. This year's team versus last year's Chile would win. I think straight up in that same situation. I think this year's team against last year's Chile would straight up win. Obviously, Muka being the X factor, but still.
I feel like it's quite interesting that actually Australia like not even just 4K, like the 3 highest 7K like ranked players in Australia are playing, which is quite funny. I find it quite interesting, and yeah, so I do believe that they definitely are a contender for 20 to 16th, especially with Ruka. Ruka is a name that I'm pretty sure we're all familiar with, and Anim Girl and Emptiness are actually names I've seen before, just others aren't so familiar with. So I'll definitely say definitely a very respectable team. So I'm gonna agree with the both of you and just put them at 13th. Yeah.
I'm really struggle to see all of your prediction is 13th because my prediction is 25. I don't know how to explain it because it's just like I'm not very confident for a completely new lineup. But when I see the user page from everyone, I just know that Impedance is strong in regular, and Anime Girl is and OCT4 is 7K players. They could also HD Adrenaline, and they could play Ellen. But for me, I'm really not confident for this lineup at all because I'm not familiar with them. For this, my opinion is 25. But if you think it is legal to get 13, I have no words. That's it.
Australia top 6. Go.
Yes, but yeah, it looks like they're going for 16th. So, I mean that makes a lot of sense.
Okay, that's it. The next one is Australia. Also a new face. Australia.
Look, can I just say I got confused when I was like Australia and then Austria. I'm like, oh my goodness. Like I just like how similar they both sound. It's literally you literally just remove A and L and you get Austria, right?
Yes.
Wait, have we done Brazil yet? Wait.
Not yet.
I think Brazil is after this, but you know, Austria, I think it's safe to say they're gonna be third. Like lack of experience and only 4 players. I think that's how they're gonna go. Well, real Eric is gonna shine here. I just think as a team, I think they're not. I think they have to work a lot on stuff still.
Okay, my opinion is also 33 because only real Eric seems have high skill set, but it is mainly for the late game, not for the early game. So my opinion is 33.
Yeah, not much to say here. Same as before. These players, unfortunately, a little bit even lower in rank. Obviously, doesn't mean everything. You know, they could be hidden nifloxes, but yeah, it doesn't look, you know, the most promising for the team.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree, especially with well, it's another 4-player team. They're gonna have like difficulties again. So yeah, I don't see this team like qualifying. So yeah.
Okay, so we got the last 2 teams. The first one is, let me see. Maybe Argentina, maybe Brazil. Brazil. So Brazil this year just changed a lot about their roster. They didn't have they didn't have August, they didn't have Losses, they didn't have Amarum, because Amarum just got a job, I mean, and Losses got into the playtester. August, I don't know why, but he didn't register. And the situation is they have to use natural, they have to use FEDK, also named as Mikumeru. And the last one, Zerg. Zerg is from 40M Brazil captain. Now the Brazil team is skilled in Ellen still, because they have Silifangirl, they have Demi, they have Lagasinho. This is already enough. And the only problem is the late game, especially the late game rise. Their rise is not stable than ever at all. They only have maybe half lineup than ever to play the rise. It is really enough to beat some strong team, I think. But we all know that Silifangirl, he might not be the strongest player, but I think he could be one of the most stable player in MWC forever. So my prediction is fifth to sixth.
You know,
Yeah,
you
I
did make a
think
good point. You do make a good point. Like when you said that Silifangirl is the most stable player in tournaments, I can agree. Silifangirl is super consistent. One of the scariest players, and this barely misses at all. Though with the loss of people like Amaram, Lotus, and Oros, I think this team definitely has a downgrade. But the replacements are very good players as well. It's just, I think with that in mind, I think Brazil is going 5th to 6th as well.
Yeah, this is going to be a really important year for Brazil to kind of. It feels almost like a generational shift, in a way, right? The older players that have been playing for so long, like Lotus, Amaron, kind of now obviously moving on. It's going to be up to the new players really to fill in for the Rice, especially because the Rice is really, you would have to think, has fallen off a cliff a little bit for some of the late game stuff, because not necessarily because the new players are bad, but just because Lotus and Orost, obviously two of the best players in the world when it comes to Rice accuracy. But that said, LN is still looking actually really strong. Like Demi Fiend, Silly Fangirl can obviously play LN really well. Lamarcinho can also play LN really well. So overall, team is still looking fairly good, but just not top, like top 3 contender like it used to, I don't think. So I'm gonna say 6 here. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say the same thing for them, especially since there's no Andre, no Lights, no Lotus from the previous year, I think. But I definitely think that Marcino, Silifangirl, Demifine, and Netro himself also can definitely play quite well. So I feel like although they aren't exceptional, they're still a very, very solid team which can definitely do a lot of damage to other countries. So yeah.
Okay, so that's Brazil. For the new players in lineup, Natural and Mikumeru, I just think maybe most of us just seeing them in leaderboards, in ranking leaderboards or allowed there. But I'm really curious if they could perform well especially perform stable in tournament. I'm really curious about it. To be honest, I'm not confident about it.
It's a huge
why
position to
I
be.
just put it at 5th, not 4th. Yes. Okay, the last one, Argentina. They have both this
Got a full team switch.
again. Finally. Only C19 kept and the others just completely changed. Argentina, we all know C19 and Boss Bliss. Boss Bliss may be one of the best Jack players, especially in ratio. But maybe most of you don't know that about this is also skilled in LN, but he just not show it immediately. And the next one, cut Lepsia X. He got really high in some jump trio map, so his skill is mainly in the late game, not the early game. And the next one, Hydro Cabruno, also skilled in late game. Both of them are Delta, and even Hydro got Delta 97. And it seems that their lineup is mainly in regular patterns, not the LN patterns. I'm really worried about their LN skills, but their regular is really strong, extremely strong. I think maybe got 17. Else, you didn't open your microphone.
Okay. Here's my, I don't know. I did say 17th. At least that's what I was thinking. But this team could either be a good 17th to 24th team or around 25th to 32nd. I just think it's safer to say 17th because, like, I think even though the other three players rather are not that experienced, I think they can definitely make some noise here. So I think 17th makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I feel like I've only said 13th 3 times so far, but yeah, at the same time, I think probably the team that would get 13th to 16th would probably be one of the other ones, maybe like the other top teams in the 17th bracket. It's hard for me to say for this because so many of the names I don't know. I know 3 of the names basically on this list, being C90 Boss Plays and Luyal from a long time ago. And I know all of them as Rice players. So yeah, I think I agree. LN is a big question mark, but their Rice is almost certainly really strong. Just how strong, not really sure. So for now, 17th I think, yeah, is a fairly safe bet.
Yeah, this team is quite unpredictable from what I see. So, yeah, their rise is a staple, but LN will be definitely another problem for them, especially since I haven't seen like much of them performing extravagantly on like long notes and like various LN charts. So I'll put them at 17.
Okay, so we finally made it.
Yep. I think this is a good list. Although I like that second to third is such a big question. I like how third place is just a big question here because like we can't really make a prediction on who's getting
Yes.
There's a few like big groups that are just impossible to tell apart.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I mean, considering that this is the list, I don't have a problem really with this prediction. I mean, to be fair, there's a reason why this is called the prediction after all. So yeah, it's I think it's totally a valid prediction.
Yep.
And yeah,
For
Looking
me, the
forward to
only
seeing.
thing is why all of you think Australia is so strong. I'm really curious.
I can
about
talk more
it,
about it
but,
if you want.
I will see it.
We can see.
No. Just keep it secret.
Okay.
No.
Okay. You'll see.
You could just keep it a secret. Okay, thanks to everyone's really long-term match.
Wow.
It is finally over 3 hours. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to COSKL's Potassium F and Sukidayo. Thank you. And thanks to all the audience to watch such a long stream with my really not stable network and weird English. I have to say that my network is not stable. Sorry very much. Okay, so It is finally over. It is already the midnight. Have a good night. See you next time.
Alright.
Don't
Bye.
Goodbye.
subscribe
Goodbye.
Bye.
to Aero's channel.
Wow.
Bye. Good night. Have a good
Okay, good night.
OK，各位晚安，各位晚安，可算是完事了。
哇，特别疲倦。Oh my goodness，
我人都他妈要累死。It is really tired 啊！
累死人了。哎呀，
That was actually really fun. I didn't have a problem with that really. I mean, yeah, it was long.
Yes, really fun, but really tired. I just
Yeah.
got exhausted, even with such a
yeah.
uniform, really tight uniform.
I'm
Nice.
happy. Thank you for the opportunity. Although, when is the stream gonna get stopped? Just stop the stream when you can.
OK，
Wow.
I think the stream is still open. By the way.
he will cut the
I did
video
not
in
expect
this
it to be
down.
so long.
When he
What were you
uploaded the
saying?
video, he won't say this.
All right. Yeah. Wait. Okay, there we go. Thank you so much. Also, yeah, I do hope.
Okay.
I hope I didn't say anything bad.
Yes.
Like any. I think.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everyone, for the opportunity. I will be going now. Thank you,
Okay,
everyone.
See you. See you.
Goodbye.
See
Looking
you.
forward to hopefully meet you in MWC eventually.
Yep. I would love to
See
face you.
you.
I'd love to face you again. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you
Yeah.
for the opportunity.
See you.
Bye.
Yes.
Goodbye.